Royal Bombshell. Insider claims expose conflicts in Prince William and Kate Middleton's marriage conflicts. The palace balcony. Perfect smiles. Carefully measured waves. A marriage the world believes is unbreakable. But insiders say the real story begins when the doors close. And what sounds like conflict may actually be the price of survival. For years, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, have been held up as the modern royal ideal. Devoted parents. United partners. Calm, composed, unshakable. Their love story is often told as a fairy tale that matured into duty. But those closest to royal life quietly suggest something far more complex. Not a collapse, not a scandal, but a marriage under immense pressure, evolving in ways the public rarely sees. From the very beginning, William and Kate were never just a couple. They were a future institution in the making. Every decision, every disagreement, every moment of doubt carried weight far beyond two people. Friends from their early years describe a relationship built on affection and deep trust, but also marked by long separations, intense scrutiny, and expectations no modern couple is trained to handle. As William's role sharpened and the shadow of the crown grew larger, so did the demands on their private life. Kate's transition from girlfriend to Duchess to future queen was not simply about learning protocol. It was about surrendering control. Control over time, over space, over how emotions could be expressed. Insiders say this was one of the earliest sources of tension. Not because of lack of love, but because love had to be constantly postponed in service of duty. Those close to palace operations suggest William carries the weight of history heavily. He is shaped by his parents' very public breakdown, deeply aware of how fragile royal marriages can become under pressure. This awareness, some say, makes him intensely guarded. Determined to protect his family. Determined to never repeat the chaos he lived through as a child. But that determination can also harden into rigidity. Kate, on the other hand, is often described as emotionally intuitive and deeply private. She feels things fully, but expresses them carefully. Sources suggest that in moments of stress, this difference in emotional processing can create friction. William internalizes. Kate reflects. One retreats. The other waits. Neither is wrong, but the gap can feel vast in moments of strain. The early years of marriage brought joy, but also isolation. Unlike previous generations, William and Kate chose a more hands-on parenting approach. They wanted normalcy for their children, even while living inside one of the most unnatural environments in the world. This decision, insiders say, was not universally supported within palace structures. There were disagreements, quiet ones, strategic ones, and those disagreements didn't stop at parenting. As the monarchy modernized, William pushed for change. Less hierarchy, more transparency. Kate supported the vision, but the execution came at a cost. Long hours, constant travel, emotional exhaustion, and very little space to simply be husband and wife. Insiders claim this period was one of the most challenging for their marriage, not because of betrayal, but because of depletion. Then came moments the public barely noticed. Subtle shifts in body language. Slight changes in scheduling. Events attended separately. None of it dramatic enough to confirm anything, but enough to spark whispers among royal watchers. Behind the scenes, sources suggest these moments coincided with deep conversations about boundaries. About how much of themselves they could continue to give without losing each other. One insider describes a particularly intense period when the pressure of succession planning became unavoidable. The reality that William will one day be king is not abstract. It shapes daily decisions. It sharpens disagreements. It raises questions about identity. What happens to the man when the crown comes closer? What happens to the woman when she becomes queen not just in title, but in expectation? Kate's role has always required restraint. But insiders suggest there were moments when that restraint felt suffocating. Not because she rejected her duty, but because she wanted to protect her sense of self. Sources say conversations between the couple during this time were raw and deeply personal. Not fights fueled by anger, but by fear. Fear of losing intimacy. Fear of becoming symbols instead of partners. William, according to those close to him, struggled with this tension. He wants stability above all else. He wants to shield his family from harm. But protection can sometimes feel like control. And control, even when well-intentioned, can create distance. Insiders claim this dynamic forced both of them to confront uncomfortable truths about how power operates even inside love. What's rarely discussed is how deeply united they are when it comes to their children. Friends say disagreements dissolve quickly when family is involved. That shared priority has acted as an anchor through turbulent moments. It is also where their bond appears strongest. Quiet mornings, school routines, small traditions away from cameras. These moments, insiders say, are what keep them grounded when everything else feels overwhelming. There have been claims of emotional withdrawal during periods of intense royal activity. Times when communication became functional rather than intimate. When conversations revolved around schedules instead of feelings. Insiders emphasize this was not permanent, but cyclical. Pressure builds, distance forms, then reconnection follows. A rhythm shaped by external forces more than internal fracture. Some palace observers interpret these cycles as conflict. Others see them as adaptation. A marriage adjusting to unprecedented circumstances. Unlike ordinary couples, William and Kate cannot step away when things get hard. They must perform unity even while working through private challenges. That performance itself becomes another source of strain. There is also the matter of legacy. William is acutely aware that every move he makes is compared to his father and grandmother. Kate is aware she is compared to Diana, often unfairly. Insiders say these comparisons creep into their private lives more than people realize. Not as competition, but as pressure to get it right. To be better. To not fail. During moments of tension, sources say Kate often becomes the emotional stabilizer, even when she herself is struggling. This imbalance has reportedly been acknowledged between them. William has been described as learning, slowly and deliberately, how to meet her halfway. Growth that doesn't make headlines. Growth that happens quietly, behind closed doors. One insider put it simply. This is not a broken marriage. It is a demanding one. Built on love, but tested constantly. Strengthened not by perfection, but by endurance. The public narrative craves either fairy tales or disasters. But the truth, according to those who have watched this marriage up close, lives in the uncomfortable middle. There are disagreements. There are emotional distances. There are moments of doubt. And there is also deep respect, shared history, and a mutual understanding that their bond is larger than themselves. When William and Kate appear together after periods of absence, insiders say it is often intentional. A recalibration. A choice to step back into unity once private conversations have been had. These are not impulsive appearances. They are deliberate signals, not to the public, but to each other. What looks like conflict may actually be negotiation. What feels like distance may be self-preservation. And what some label as cracks may simply be the visible strain of carrying a crown that has not yet been placed. The most revealing insight from insiders is not about arguments or disagreements. It is about commitment. A quiet, sometimes heavy commitment to choosing each other again and again under circumstances that would overwhelm most marriages. They are not immune to conflict. They are navigating it in a world that allows no privacy and no mistakes. In the end, the real bombshell is not that William and Kate face marital tension. It's that they face it while remaining deeply aware that their love is not just personal. It is symbolic, historical, and relentlessly watched. And perhaps the greatest test of their marriage is not whether they argue, but whether they can continue to grow together while the world insists on defining them before they have finished defining themselves.